And welcome back to the show. Our next guest has been known as a world-renowned chef and tastemaker who spent the last decade actually perfecting her craft. She believes the community must uplift and help one another because we'll never know when our time will come. And we may need some help. So she's actually hosting a Juneteenth food drive. Joining us and sharing details is chef and owner of Millie Peartree Catering, Millie Peartree. And Millie, good to have you.
Good, thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me, Darren.
I'm so glad to have you. And as we are talking, honestly, cooking is your passion. You know, you've got the culinary gift, and you're taking this culinary gift and you're actually bringing it forward, especially during a time like Juneteenth. So talk to us about what got you going on this.
Well, I mean, prior to, I guess I could say prior to the pandemic, I had a wonderful restaurant here in the Bronx and it was closed before that. But, I noticed that, we had to start shifting gears. So I started to donate my time and utilize my talent to feed people that needed it during that time. And then I slowly pivoted into feeding children. So from July of last year up until 2 weeks ago, I was able to feed 80,000 children in the Bronx. And during that entire process, I started to research more and more about, food insecure households and what food insecurity meant. And I just wanted to make sure that I was a voice within my community to actually help people with their need. I always say that, I was able to have a business in my borough, I was able to make money here. But, when things shifted, I said, what, it's also equally important to give back to people that don't have it. And that's pretty much been my mission and my passion since, the pandemic.
Yeah, so you had this business and now you turned it into another type of passion. And so you're feeding people. How'd you go about coming about the people that you wanted to reach?
Well, with the children, like I said, we were feeding a lot of, hospital workers, essential workers, anybody that was out there combating COVID-19 during the height of the pandemic. But as we slowly started to open up last year, I never really heard anything about children. A lot of the feeding programs were canceled and are limited. So I created an initiative called Full Heart, Full Bellies. And that was a way to bridge the hunger gap for children that lived in food insecure households. I know that, of course, in our borough of the Bronx, we're a lot of hospitality workers, we're a lot of working class folks. And I just wanted to make sure that, I was able to help fill that void. And over the past year, like I said, we fed 80,000 children and families. We had one food drive this past March where we fed 5,000 families with food boxes. And now that the feeding program in particular, it has come to an end, I operate on the side of, you give somebody a fish, they eat for a day. You teach them how to fish, they eat for a lifetime. So that's why my program has pivoted into, food drives to actually help people get groceries in their household. And some boxes include recipe cards. It's just a way to show people like, even though we're opened up, you're not forgotten, because the food epidemic has been here. Food insecurity has been here for many years. But I'm hoping that, through my platform and relationships and everything that I do, I can help bridge that gap in my lifetime, I should say.
Yeah, so you've done this during COVID, bridging the gap. Talk to us about your business. Do you plan on going back to the restaurant business, or we're coming out of COVID? Will you continue doing what you're doing? How do you see things playing out?
Well, I don't see myself opening a restaurant. I'll never say never, but as of right now, I don't see myself opening another restaurant. I'm still with my catering. I still did catering, throughout COVID. I mean, now people are picking back up. They're having more events. But most importantly, I feel like moving forward, this is what I would like to do. I would like to help people. So, I always say there's a blessing in everything. And I found my blessing, which was able to actually help people and, educate myself on food insecurity and just to help people. And I'm just happy that I'm able to be of service to a community that has serviced me for so many years.
Yeah, and with Juneteenth coming around the corner, I know you're coming front and center with a food drive. Talk to us about the food drive and how the public can help you in that endeavor.
Oh, so the food drive. So we're actually gonna have a food drive on June 18th. The day before Juneteenth. And I'm a Bronx native, but a lot of people don't know I was born in Harlem. My mom actually grew up in Lincoln Projects. And, I just feel like Harlem is just like, that the melting pot of African American culture. And this will be a great way to bring, food to another borough that actually will need it. And on that day, we have wonderful, sponsors from Tyson Foods. They donated a tractor trailer load of product, Dole, Del Monte, Coca-Cola, Cabot cheese, WW. I'm actually a WW ambassador, formerly Weight Watchers. And it's just a blessing that people are like digging in their pantries, which would be, what I would call a pantry, but it's technically a storage, warehouse facility. And they're just donating all this product. And, we have wonderful volunteers that are coming across the board, like from Target. And, as it pertains to that, we are fully committed on volunteers. We're trying to feed, 2,500 people on that day. But, people can just find out more about, my pro-social initiative, Full Heart, Full Bellies at Chef Millie Peartree on social media, and just continue to follow the journey. If anybody is in need of food, if they're going to be in Harlem at the Lincoln Projects area, just come get a bag. It's, it's just a way of celebrating and just being able to help, communities moving forward.
Are you a little surprised with the way food insecurity has been, particularly with COVID? I mean, I think all of us know that we had a problem beforehand, but really watching through COVID has opened a lot of people's eyes.
Well, it actually opened my eyes. I remember I was able to contact trace the day I caught COVID. It was March 18th. And I went to go visit a friend, and I'm blessed enough that I don't have to take public transportation. But that day in particular, I took public transportation, and I saw my neighbor, and we greeted each other, and I got on a city bus. And, a couple days later, like a week or two later, my neighbor passed away from COVID. And after, I recovered from my symptoms and I quarantined for a few weeks, I was able to see, lines. And I asked my friend, I was like, what are all these lines? Are there COVID testing? And they were like, no, that's pantry. And I said, I was just floored to see, all of, the cars just lined up for blocks and blocks and blocks, just picking up food boxes to get to people. And it just opened my eyes, and I felt bad. I said, what, am I this out of touch that I didn't know that food insecurity was this huge problem, in not necessarily our city, but in our country. And I said, what, I have to do something. So that was the force within me to say, what, God spared my life from COVID. And I don't have a restaurant any longer, but I still have my talent. I still have my skill. And that's the way I'm choosing to live my life moving forward, to help people.
Well, Millie, I want to congratulate you on what you've done, helping the community, being a blessing, and especially on Juneteenth, where people will be able to participate and receive a lot of food distributions, but most of all, love. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All righty. Well, listen, if you want more information, visit our website at milliepeartree.com. Again, milliepeartree.com. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We've got more open coming up right after this.